What's going on, everybody? Bove here. We're joined by Jenna and Dan Fates, both from our sister station, 13 Wham in Rochester. As you can see, we've all got baseball hats on, so we're keeping it extra casual today. Working from home does have its perks. How are you guys
doing? Good. We're as great as we can be in these times.
Dan?
Social distancing. We're all way more than 6 feet apart, so we're doing well.
If I knew that you guys were both going to be wearing your AirPods, I would have probably gone out and bought a pair so I could look cool like you guys. My AirPods broke.
Did you really?
Oh, my gosh. More first world problems, Bove.
More first world problems. So the problem is the right one does not work, but the left one does. And you can't really, go to a mall right now. So I can't go to the Apple store to be like, hey, fix my AirPods. So I'm just kind of,
You're roughing it?
I'm slumming it with my corded headphones when I go on a run. But it's nice, though, because with AirPods, I felt like sometimes people didn't notice they were in, and they try and talk to you. And when you've got the cord there, your neighbors don't talk to you, which is nice. Because I'm really
Are you okay?
I'm trying to take this social distancing thing seriously.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, it's important. You guys, we've been on a bunch of Zoom conference calls with a bunch of the Bills front office with Bean, with Josh Allen, a couple other players. What have you guys thought about the offseason so far?
I mean, I feel like if this is a time for the Bills to trade out of the first round, it's not a bad idea considering the league saying it's going to be a virtual draft this year. Bean's going to be basically in his own home alone doing it. And then also when you look at the talent of Stefon Diggs, I think that's huge. Obviously, he makes this Bills offense better, and that's something that they've been really in need of in finding that number one wide receiver guy.
Yeah, I think that this has been an interesting offseason. Obviously, like Jenna said, with COVID-19 and everything being affected, but it's also I don't want to miss the fact or forget the fact that this is kind of like the Bills window, and the moves that they've made have been moves of, hey, windows aren't open forever, especially in the NFL, and let's kind of, not to quote Rex Ryan, but go all in and kind of put your chips in there and say Stefon Diggs makes this team better, a lot better, and does right now. And I like that play of this division is wide open. This conference minus the Chiefs is also pretty wide open, and let's go for it. And I like that.
I hate the argument that some people have made that this puts more pressure on Josh Allen and that this move shouldn't be made. Have you guys seen that? I don't understand that whatsoever. You should, if you think that he can handle it, then you give him all the tools, and then after this year whether or not he's going to be the guy, because there's no excuses. I don't understand why some people are using that as kind of a reason to knock the Diggs trade.
I mean, I think it definitely does put more pressure on Josh because, like you said, they're giving him all the weapons he needs to have this be a make or break year for him. But I think that pressure is important. I don't think that's a reason to hate it. I mean, this is your team trying to get better and trying to figure out the future. And why wouldn't you want them to realize, okay, is this going to be the guy? Is this the answer or is it not? And I think it's important for this team to do that while he's still on his rookie contract.
But I'll agree with Bove. If they don't make this trade, is there any less pressure on Josh Allen? There was going to be pressure no matter what. The Diggs trade, I feel helps him give him a piece and just another better way to evaluate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I am so in on them finally going all in. Kind of like you said, Dan, and kind of alluding to what Rex Ryan said. They have the talent now. There are no excuses not to. I was actually having this conversation with a bunch of my buddies the other day because, I'm sure the same in Rochester. Basically, all of my friends back here at home are huge Bills fans. They always want to talk about the Bills. And I made the argument, if you don't get to the conference championship game, I think this season is a bust. I really feel that way. And I know that's crazy considering where they've been. If he falls into his couch, if I could fall into
Are you okay, Bove?
How is that any different? Because they blew the game in Houston. They should have won that game.
Correct.
If next year, after they trade their first-round pick, they make all these moves in the offseason, if they win their first-round game and then go and lose the second round, is anybody here really happy? Are Bills fans really this is the direction?
I mean, I think
that's another step, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. If you want to buy into the process of everything, you made the playoffs. You made the playoffs once again. You need to win in the playoffs and go from there. I agree. It's a shorter window that the Bills are trying to get this done in, and this is their window. But to say the conference championship, look, this is the first year in so long that I feel like the Bills have actual expectations, but I feel like yours are even too high right now. Don't get me wrong. I think they have the talent to make that happen. But at the same point, there's a lot of things that play into an NFL season, one of which being injuries. And that is a complete toss-up. And we don't know how much that will affect this team in the year ahead.
And I'll go off to what Jenna said, Bove. Not to say that I don't like thinking that way. Like, I think they should obviously have that expectations. But you look at what the Chiefs did. You know, Patrick Mahomes didn't go his MVP, or they didn't go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, it was an overtime game and all that stuff in New England. And then they still needed help from Miami to get a first-round bye. If they didn't get that first round bye, they don't get home field advantage. That changes a lot of things where all of a sudden, oh, Patrick Mahomes has been the best quarterback, but the Chiefs haven't won the Super Bowl. And it's on Andy Reid again. So I think you still need to take things into perspective that the division host a playoff game. Maybe that's where they start to set that. Obviously, every NFL team's goal is going to be to win the Super Bowl, but like realistic expectations, hosting a home playoff game would be massive. Winning a playoff game would be huge. And then again, I kind of think you're playing with house money after that, because this team, while it is maybe a 2 to 3 year window, I still think they're building on that compared to the downswing right now.
A home playoff game would be lit. That would be insane. It'd be really, really cool. And
lit.
The atmosphere would be incredible. So Josh Allen last year, he has 29 total touchdowns. He has 9 interceptions, and then he's got a bunch of fumbles. That was an issue last year. Touchdowns are kind of tricky, but I feel like from a numerical standpoint, from a statistical standpoint, that's actually not that bad of a year, the year that he had this year. What's he need next year for people to be happy? 32, 33 touchdowns, regardless of how you get them. Is that good? I mean, that's basically 2 a game. As long as the interception number doesn't skyrocket, I think if you stay kind of like under 12 interceptions, I'm cool with those numbers. Do you Uncle Dan, what would like the Vegas line be on his total touchdowns next year?
Yeah, it'd probably be around that same thing, like you're saying, probably 2 touchdowns a game. It's tricky because when you look at his, I try and break down total touchdowns and then passing touchdowns, because he's going to need to throw more passing touchdowns. You can't depend on him rushing in 9 touchdowns every single year. I just don't know if that's the long-term secret for success. And I think what you want out of Josh Allen is probably just more of that consistency, having less of those head-scratching throws and more of the plays where you're just like, yep, that was an NFL quarterback. That was a good throw. Like we saw it in bits and pieces. And I'm not – this isn't a hot take central when I'm saying he needs to be more consistent, but maybe just – how about a 300-yard passing game? Like, how about averaging 250? And I think when you do that, all of a sudden they become an offense that was 22nd in the league in scoring to maybe top 15, which is where they need to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, like you said, consistency is something. Like, we've seen Josh make some incredible plays, but some of those easier passes, and
then he ladders the ball backwards in the playoff game, running down the field.
He is such a gamer, and I think that's a huge part of who he is, and I don't want to take that away from him, but I also think it's important for him to kind of just even out and make some more routine passes, and that way you can have that gamer side of him, but also have the ability to just march or throw the ball down the field, consistently get first downs, and then get into the end zone. I think maybe that's not as sexy of a game plan, but at the same point, that's something that this Bills team and any team would love to do. And Josh, I think, has that ability to do that. He just needs to fine-tune that more.
Obviously, the draft loses a little bit of its luster with no first-round pick for the Bills. I think we all probably agree, though, based off of the comments that we've said, we all think it was a smart decision, the Stephon Diggs trade. We all like the trade. I tend to think that in the second round, maybe you just – maybe you draft like a big nickel. Maybe you draft an interior offensive lineman, maybe a wide receiver if somebody flips. I don't think they're going to draft a running back in the second round. That doesn't necessarily make the most sense to me. I get the argument both ways, though. What do you guys think?
We were talking to Benjamin Albright earlier on in the week, and this was before we learned that the draft was going to be held virtually. But Dan and I were talking to him. He was just saying the fact that the Bills still have 7 picks available. Obviously, they don't have one in the first round as of right now, but that's not to say that all 7 picks are going to make this roster, because there is a lot of talent on this roster. So what about Brandon Beane packaging up and trying to get back into the first round? And we know Beane, and I could see him making a play to do that. Now, how much do things change because things will be done virtually? That's to say. But I could see the Bills going back up in the first round.
Oh, okay. After Jenna, when we talked to Albright, and he kind of suggested that the Bills could possibly be moving back up in the first round, package some picks because probably 7 draft picks won't make their 53-man roster. All of a sudden, I'm all in. I am all in on them moving back up, switching around a couple picks. If there's a guy they like, maybe late in the first round, whether it's the edge rusher from Iowa, somebody like that could possibly be floating there. If they like their wide receiver, maybe they didn't like anybody at 22, but if somebody is still there at 30, 31, 32, I am all for moving back up. This roster doesn't need 7 players. It needs 2 or 3 guys that can impact this team this year. So I agree. I would really like to see Brandon Beane. And I almost feel like he's doing that robo-dope of being like, yeah, it's going to be tough not having a pick in the first round. And it's like, oh, really, Brandon? Is that how you work?
Yeah. I don't think that would surprise any of us. If you had to give the offseason a grade for the Bills, what would you do? I'd say B. It's still early. I'd say B+, I guess, depending on the draft. I don't want to toss around an A because I feel like that's probably too high of praise. Maybe they did give up a little more than some people would like in the Stephon Diggs deal. I don't think they did. I think it was a fair deal. I just think the DeAndre Hopkins deal kind of makes it look worse.
Yeah, but what was that?
I don't think that should be, really any indication of it. So I'd say B+. What do you guys think?
I would agree with that. I think it is still pretty early on, but I think the Bills have done a good job of addressing the fact, Shaq Lawson as well as Jordan Phillips being gone, trying to fill in those holes. I think that the Diggs deal will hopefully work out well for the team. I like the boldness of their strategy in doing it. I'll go with a B- because it's still kind of early.
Yeah, I think I'm in that B range too, just because I don't love, some of these shots that they took on Mario Addison. Some of these guys are definitely a little bit older. I don't know how they necessarily fit into the scheme, but the Diggs deal is obviously a cherry on top. It's a massive move. It makes them from AFC East contenders to, championship contenders is what, how this could change the offense. So B is probably fair. It'd be interesting to see, Brandon Beane has found lightning in a bottle with a guy like Quentin Spain. Maybe Mario Addison, all of a sudden has double-digit sacks. Maybe some of these other guys really pan out. I'll give it a B. It's good. It's not great. But they didn't need to be great. They just needed to keep the ball rolling, and I think Beane has done that.
Yeah.
What should people be watching on television while they're stuck at home? What are you guys watching?
What show?
Yeah.
Not football or movie. Ooh, this is
I'm asking this just selfishly as well because
Ozark, 100% Ozark. If you're not watching Ozark, you're crazy.
Yeah, I need to start that. I haven't yet. I jumped back into watching Community. I don't know if anyone remembers that show.
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't seen it in a long time though.
I've watched a lot of reruns
right now
of Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Parks and Rec is always solid.
You behind me?
Is that the Ron Swanson one?
Yeah.
Literally still up there. I haven't changed it yet.
I know it's like the anniversary of Tommy Boy too.
What?
I know it's like the 25th anniversary of Tommy Boy too, which that's a classic.
Is that on anything now? Is that like on Netflix?
Oh, I don't know.
ABC Plus. There's
and I know my wife and I are late to the party, but we've also watched we've gotten into Love is Blind, which is also addicting.
Oh yeah, Tiger.
Blind is addicting. Do you guys have Disney Plus?
No. I don't even have a TV. I don't know. I got rid of it because I just watch everything on my phone. I'm weird.
That's the most studious thing that I've ever heard. I don't own a TV. I got 4, so if you want to come on over. Thank you for doing this, guys.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Stay safe, Bove. Miss you.